let's start with you. I would love to talk about Edwin, a century-old murdered boarding school kid. What an interesting character to play. What excites you most about playing Edwin?
It's a good question. There's a lot that excites me about Edwin. I think one of the things I really enjoy about playing Edwin is the conversation around age, and because he's a 16-year-old teenage boy, but he's also a 123-year-old soul. And I think as an actor, there's a really interesting interplay between those two things. So as an actor, it was a fun challenge trying to find the balance between those two things.
Yeah, definitely. And we do see him evolve, like even in just like the course of the season, which is such an interesting thing to see, especially since he's so old, right? How did you play that?
Well, I mean, that's where our great writers came in, and I think they handled the arc of Edwin so beautifully. And when we first meet Edwin, he's been working with Charles for 30 plus years. He knows his routine. He has quite a simple existence, really. He's a detective and he's got a best friend, Charles Rowland. And then Crystal comes in and she opens the gateway for both of the boys to really confront their demons, to confront their trauma. And I think it's a really lovely thing, actually. At least I felt this, like watching you, for example, after all these years experiencing that change and ultimately, moving towards a version of yourself that's more authentic and that's more open, really. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of like moving towards, like a version of yourself that's more authentic, Jayden, I feel like we really see that come out in Charles's character. Tell us about playing him, like who he is, what you bring to the character.
Charles is that. Say if you go to like a dog walking park, right? Charles is that puppy at the dog walking park that doesn't listen to its owner, but you cannot help but want to go over and and like see it, right? That's Charles.
You're calling yourself irresistible.
Basically, well, not myself. I'm calling Charles, but he is. I think Charles is quite an irresistible character. He kind of, can talk his way out of any situation, and Edwin, who's quite poised in his ways. You see Charles; he's the only one who's able to really get him out of those situations and make him do things that he wouldn't normally do. And I think Charles's journey throughout the series is such a beautiful one, and I think he shows a lot about what being a teenage boy is like, and how they can put on this brave facade where realistically inside they might be struggling. And I think the chosen family that Charles has with Edwin, Crystal, and Nico, I think that's what brings it out of him. And being able to embody him, I think it was such a privilege. And here we are.
Definitely. Well, I know, so these two characters, right, they've been around for years, right? In comics, in Doom Patrols, there have been other portrayals of them. Did either of you feel any pressure to like live up to fans' expectations when you went into these roles?
Absolutely. I personally, for me, I did, but I also believed that we were going to make something that was super authentic and that had never been done before. So I think in the back of my mind, I always had that. And Steve always said, listen, we trust you guys to do what needs to be done. And now we've made this amazing masterpiece.
And the thing is, when it comes to Neil Gaiman properties, there have always been different iterations of the same kind of thing, and when it comes to a franchise such as The Sandman, there are different versions. There's an audio book. So I think, honestly, the more the merrier. And this is our one. And we're really proud of it. And honestly, fundamentally, I think I speak for both of us when I say we're just grateful to be actors who in work.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited for people to see the show because I'm a big fan.
Thank you so much.
I might ask for lessons in using the spin.
Yeah, for real.
Very intrigued. It feels very Edwin coded. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does. Maybe that's why I connect to the show so much, is the old fashioned feel. All right. Well, thanks again. Take care.